So after that, it was like, well, where to now? Because we had 230 cows or something locked in the cow yard and in the dairy. They'd spent the last 2 nights there, I might add. And on this particular night, we decided we were leaving them locked there. They were safest. There is a levee bank there. You might realise that machinery is actually parked on the levee bank, but you can't see it. And so that was what we were greeted with the following morning. Our 3 sons spent considerable amount of time that night and the next day trapped on those vehicles until they could see their way clear to get on the largest tractor and drive out and come up the road to get something to eat. So we actually had to wait for the waters to subside a little bit before we could start those pumps and start and pump the water out from inside the levee bank. That took us 2 days to get enough water out of the levee bank that we could get trucks into there to get the dairy cattle trucked to another farm. So they missed 5 to 6 milkings depending which truck they were actually on, because it took from one day into the next to get them out. That's just a photo of my son's house. And that water extended a fair way back into Millmerran. In fact, he had to tow those rescue boats out in the end. It's a long story. And he had to tow them halfway back to Millmerran from our place, which is probably about 5k. That's an aerial view on the Thursday, 12 o'clock on the Thursday, when a friend of ours who's a crop duster pilot decided to take us up to see if we could find the 60 heifers that we had washed away on the other side of the river. And as you can see in the photo, the trucks are backed into the ramp there at the dairy trying to get the cattle out. So there's still a fair bit of water around 2 days after we were hit. The corn in the foreground is it and other blocks, the only thing that survived. There was corn from just there all the way down to the river. That all got washed away. You'd have sworn you'd cut that off with a knife. So what did it leave us? Left us with a lot of erosion. It left a nice layer of sand all over the place. We've got about a bit under 2,500 acres, and it's all as though you've sprinkled it with sand from the river, and not one part of that missed out on being inundated with water. In the week after the floods, I got the opportunity to meet every landholder between our farm and Cecil Plains, which is 40 kilometres away, both sides of the river, as I made contact with them trying to locate the cattle we had washed away. We've found all of them except for 10, and I've got to check out the damage on all their farms as I rode around and retrieved those heifers, and that's when I came home and realised that, well, yeah, we've been hit hard, but we're not the only ones. Everybody got hit at the same time. And a fortnight after that, we got hit again. It wasn't enough that we copped it once, we got it a second time. But once again, we were lucky. We didn't have any loss of life, whereas there was people a lot less fortunate than us down below the range. And now, look at Christchurch. Our hearts go out to all of those and the people in the north. So we've started to rebuild at a huge cost, and I'll let Wes go on from there.
We make some of these decisions as well. And the reasons we've done what we've done is to absolutely underpin a profitable and a viable business that can go forward, can contribute what it ought to contribute from a business point of view to our family, can contribute what it needs to contribute to agriculture. Part of the reason we've shifted and done what we've done is to get some more security and certainty around weather and irrigation and production. But there is no doubt that in all of this we do need to deal with these extremities. And we'll deal with this one that's probably cost us $500,000, I reckon, of a quick back of the envelope calculation. And we'll get through it and we'll get over it if we've got enough tolerance with all of those who are partner with us in it. And we dairy, obviously, but there's a lot of our neighbours are crop producers, cotton, grains. And I think one of the messages that we need to think about and we need to deal with is the pressures that are on each of those businesses individually. And right now there's an underlying fear among a lot of those as to how they deal with contracts that they are in, taken out in good faith, taken out for all the right business reasons that they should do. But at the end of the day, an event like this changes the catalyst of the whole thing that you deal with. It's certainly done that for us, and it's certainly going to do for a lot of them. So the tolerance that's there across the partnerships we've got is going to be critical. We've obviously worked on the priorities. We had to put a feed pad back, which was virtually totally washed away. The second flood that LeAnne mentioned wasn't as high as the first, but the erosion you saw there and the damage you saw was mainly mitigated out of that one. I think we had fences that were probably 50% there and only 45% angled after the first one, but after the second one we've got no fences. So it was pretty intense. We've tried to, the lot of us, do everything on the one day. That includes me and LeAnne and the boys. We've worked out you can't do that. We had to deal with the priorities and the urgencies. It was a bad time of the year between Christmas and New Year. Anybody that wants to find electricians and motor rewirers and those sort of guys at that time of the year, I don't need to tell you guys what that'd be like. One of the main reasons why we decided to shift the cows. May well have kept the herd there and persevered, only for that period of the year. But we've dealt with, as quickly as we could, the important things. The restoration of the business to get the cattle back, get that feed pad built back. We can now get on with dealing with the insurance. We can now get on dealing with all the other issues that surround it, putting the infrastructure back. We started this week to fence again, and we had some good help in that. And it'll take some time. And so much so I've taken some time off from the role I play within the Australian dairy industry to do that. And that's pretty important and pretty necessary for us at this time. But I think one of the ways that we can deal with a lot of the challenges that face us in agriculture, and this is an example of some of those challenges, is that we've all got to be innovative. We've all got to pick up the new technology as much as we can, but we should never throw out the old. One of the stories LeAnne hasn't told is that if we hadn't had 2 horses in a shed, we'd have been stuffed in the last 3 months. You couldn't go anywhere with a tractor, you couldn't go anywhere with a motorbike. We've brought cattle out of water up over the stirrup irons. We've all gone and we have chased up new tillage and farming practice. We do everything under zero till and the like. But to go and cover up and deal with some of that erosion issue, we've had to go and find some of those old implements that are laying in the grass. So we should never forget about the past. If we can change and chase these things down with innovation, if we can deal with the regulation and the compliance issues that we know we need to deal with, but we do it in a smart way, we'll conquer all of these things. We'll conquer a few of the other challenges that were talked about earlier today as well. And I've been, as you would be, highly involved in the discussions around Murray-Darling and the like in the last few months. And one of the challenges, I think, for government and for industries and for the community is to think in an innovative way about how we deal with all of these things. Because if we don't do that, we'll strangle ourselves with the incumbents of the bureaucracy and the regulation we put around us. We've chased down and we've conquered and we've pursued deregulation in this economy, and we're all better off for it. But how we deal with the rest of the world and how we set ourselves up to deal with that and the platform we put ourselves off will tell us how we deal with the future. But I'm sure there is a bright future for agriculture. I'm sure there's a bright future for dairy, and I'm sure even after that there's a bright future for us as well. And we do play an important role in the food security for this nation. And one of the most important points I heard before lunch, I think, was also the fact that we also play a big role in the food security for a whole lot of our neighbours. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we look forward to having the 2 big events of the McKellar poem out of our lives, LeAnne and I. So we hope we can go on and reap the payback threefold. Thank you.